What's going on, everyone? So it is time to talk about Anakin, which I have been super excited to try out for you all for a video. I've been playing a lot of Anakin lately. We actually had a bunch of games over the weekend where I played with my Patreons, and well, we saw a lot of Anakin during those times. So it's been really fun to play against you all. We're going to talk about Anakin Red today and show him off with some games. Before we do, big thank you to my patrons over on Patreon. Again, love playing games with you all, and love chatting with you all in the Discord. Check it out in the description down below. And I have a TCG player link in the description. Be sure to use it for all your Star Wars limited card needs. But let's talk about Anakin Red and what we're trying to do here and why we're playing Anakin in the first place. So first off, we have Anakin's action. Guys, this thing I just use because I want damage on my base. It's kind of weird. You sometimes use it to like have your interceptor, like your Anakin's interceptor, end up hitting a space unit that's a 2/3 and you kill it. There's a lot of value trading that can happen, but to be honest, it's actually a bonus to have damage on your base, because the thing is, when you deploy Anakin, he has a 6 cost, like 7/7 very frequently, and you just destroy people with him. It is really obnoxious to see Anakin hit the battlefield and have a ton of stats on him. So yes, value trading does happen, a decent chunk, but honestly, it's his flip side that really does some major work. As such, what are we doing to kind of support that? Well, we have a lot of the standard double red cards that you might expect. A little bit of a rebel package, but not too heavily leaning into it. We don't have like wing leaders, for example, because, well, wing leaders are pretty bad if you don't have someone to put stuff on. Instead, we got a couple of the rebel units you're used to, you know, Sabine Wren, A-Wing, all great 2-resource plays. We have like Fighters for Freedom, Fleet Lieutenants, Red 3s, all of which, again, still solid rebel plays that you're playing in double red. We got our aggressions, our Podamrins. Our new cards, on the other hand, that you might not see or that are brand new. Anakin's Interceptor, 2/3 space units for 2 resources. This is just really good. And it can actually be a 4/3 a decent chunk of the time. We have Twice the Pride. This one's really strong. 2 resource upgrade that gives +4/+0. What I've realized is putting this on like Anakin's Interceptor, an A-Wing, for example, or any space unit for that matter, is really good. I had someone who, when I was fighting over the weekend, they ended up playing this on a space unit and ended up being like a 9-powered space unit. I was like, oh, gotta kill that immediately. Otherwise, I just immediately lose, because you can actually place this on space units, and placing them on space units makes it so that you can oftentimes get in like 1 or 2 attacks with it, which is exactly what you want, right? Just getting in a ton of damage. We have Jesse. This ends up being a 3-resource 5-powered attacker. It just closes out games really, really quickly. And the battle droids tend not to matter too much. It depends on the matchup you're fighting. Sometimes it's a really big downside, but in those cases, you can always just resource him. And then we also have Resolute. This can come down as like a 7-resource, 8/8, deal some damage if you have like, well, 15 damage on your base. But it can be really powerful. And we also have something that you might not be used to, which is Bravado. So normally I wouldn't recommend playing this in any other deck, but we have like Twice the Pride and we have Anakin. Anakin is oftentimes, as I said, like a 7/7. So you control the board a little bit with aggression, open fire, trade off with some units, maybe get in some damage to their base. You deploy Anakin and you hit for 14. Or in some cases, you put a Twice the Pride on Anakin and he's like an 11/5. And you hit for 22 in a single turn with just Anakin, Twice the Pride, and Bravado. It is really absurd. And remember, Anakin has Overwhelm. So if you are in danger of dying as well, you can always kill off some units while you're hitting their base, and that can be really oppressive. So really good stuff. Let's go dive into some games, guys, and just start beating some people down. To start us off, guys, we're going to dive into Sabine Green. This is one of the matchups where, well, the 2 damage to our base actually could hurt us because we are fighting a very aggressive deck. This is a pretty reasonable hand. I'm not going to mulligan this. I'm going to start off with a Bo-Katan and follow it up with probably a Jesse or a Fighters for Freedom. We will see. They're going to go ahead and start off by dealing some damage to us. We're just going to go ahead and play out the Bo-Katan. They got an A-Wing. Let's take initiative. We got Podamrin Red 3. Okay. I'm going to go to resource that Red 3. Even though it can give us a little bit of value, it's, well, isn't going to actually do all that much in this specific part because of them having an A-Wing. We're just going to go ahead and play out the Fighters for Freedom. Let's play out the Fighters for Freedom. get some value going in that way. And we're going to attack with Bo-Katan into their base for 3. They're going to deal 1 damage to each of us. And we're going to take initiative. They got a Sundari Peacekeeper. And this is a perfect example of where the 2 damage from Anakin matters a ton. So here we have aggression, which we can ready up another unit. What I can do here, use Anakin's action, deal 2 damage to their base, and then kill their Sundari Peacekeeper, right? Insane value trade, which we would not be able to do in any other circumstance. I'm going to go ahead and attack into their Sabine Wren for 3. And then what I could do here is play aggression, deal 4 damage to their A-Wing, and then ready up the Bo-Katan. And we get to deal 1 damage to their base because of the Fighters for Freedom. And it looks like they went ahead and put a Darksaber on their Sabine, which is totally fine. We'll just go ahead and hit Sabine for 3. Go ahead and not draw a card. And they're going to hit us for 6. That's totally fine. We're going to take initiative. We have an open fire, which looks pretty good. Podameron, which looks pretty nice. But we're not going to waste any time. We're just going to attack Sabine for a nice 3. They play a Ketsu. That's fine. I'm going to go ahead and play a Podameron. They get a Cassian. That's fine. Yet again, we're going to take initiative. Resource one of these Jessies. And, oh, what's that? We're going to attack your Cassian. And, let's see. Discard. What do I want to discard? I'll discard one of these Sabine Wrens. I'll deal 2 damage to the Ketsu. Just kill off both their things. They have a Wrecker, which they ECL'd. Oh, they did not ECL it. So they're just going to get down Wrecker, which is totally fine, by the way. We are going to flip Anakin. And this is an interesting kind of thought. We can go ahead and trade off Anakin with Wrecker, but I think what we would rather do is just hit their base for 7, play out a Bo-Katan, and then play out Open Fire and hit Wrecker for 4. And now the onus is on them to really go ahead and finish us off with this Wrecker. They're going to hit Bo-Katan. Probably not what most people would do. They probably just kill Anakin. Maybe they wanted to get some damage in and prevent them from dying. But now our Anakin attacks in for 8. And they play nothing, so we're just going to go ahead and play Anakin's Interceptor. And we will go ahead and play the Cassian. And we'll finish them off with the Cassian attack. So pretty sweet. As you can see, Anakin just attacked twice, and that's kind of how the game ends. It's just absurd. It just ends extremely quickly. Into the next game, and this is definitely one of those hands where I really, really do like. Against Sabine, they don't really have too much interaction in space, so that is going to be potentially a situation where we can go A-Wing plus twice the pride and start beating down extremely quickly. So not going to mulligan this. I'm going to keep that. I'm going to go and resource this Red 3 and the Interceptor. And we're just going to start off with an A-Wing, especially since we have initiative, which I very much like. Let's take initiative. They got Spec Force Soldier, and they're going to pass. Okay. Let's go to resource one of these Jessies. And I think to start us off, I am actually just going to play the Jessie. Get that thing down. What's really nice about this, by the way, is it one-shots Sabine. Just straight up one-shots Sabine. So that's going to be a huge game. Let's go ahead and attack. I'm actually going to kill the wing leader. Prevent some of that damage. Just get a kind of free trade there. They're going to attack, hit my base. We're going to take initiative. They're going to hit us both for 1. And on to the next one. So we got double twice the pride. Okay. Interesting. I think I am just going to go ahead and get rid of the Bravado, or do I get rid of the Podameron? I think I want to get rid of one of the twice the prides, actually. So here I'm going to attack in with this A-Wing to start us off. Actually, Yeah, I'm going to attack in with the A-Wing. So now if our opponent decides to Spec Force Soldier and hit the Jesse, then they can't really deploy Sabine. I'm going to go ahead and play the Interceptor. They're going to deploy Sabine. I'll go ahead and attack Sabine. So we could have just gone ahead and did all of our damage. They're going to go ahead and trade off one of their both their battle droid tokens for the Jesse at this point. And now our interceptor is going to get very big very quickly. Let's take initiative here. We've got ourselves a K2 and a Sabine. Let's go and resource that Sabine. Let's go ahead and start off with a Poe Dameron. Now our opponent's going to hit our base for 6. We are going to then attack their base for 3. And mind you, this Anakin's interceptor is freaking huge. It is a whopping 8 points of damage. They're going to Cassian, get it immediately ready. We're going to take initiative. And I mean, they're just dead, actually. They should have used the Sabine action, but they are just straight up dead. We just attack with Poe Dameron and finish off the game. Discard, deal 2 to a base, and that's going to finish off the game. Mind you, if we did deploy Anakin, he would be an 8-7 right now. Now, it'd be a little bit tricky. What we would have done if they hadn't done exactly that, we would have struggled, right? Because we would have had to attack Spec Force Soldier. Well, actually, I mean, we just attack their base, even if they weren't close, because then Anakin's interceptor is going to finish off the game. But they would have had something to deal with one of these space units. Because, I mean, look at this thing. This is an 8-powered attacker with twice the prime. Now, I do think our opponent didn't necessarily play perfectly. So that could have been something they could have done differently. I'm not exactly sure specifically, depending on what they had at hand, what they could have done, etc. They start off the turn 1 with a Spec Force Soldier, which is a little bit weaker, but still pretty solid showing. Let's go ahead and fight against Bosk Green. I think the AI usually plays this okay, but I guess we'll have to find out. Let's go ahead and not take a mulligan. Don't mind this hand at all. Let's go to resource the Interceptor, and I think let's resource this Cassian. And let's just start off with an A-Wing. They got a silencer. Let's go ahead and take initiative. And then I think we resource probably the Red 3. And I'll just start off by killing their TIE silencer. Just go ahead and go for the trade. Not exciting by any means, but it's okay. Let's go ahead and play the Jesse. They get 2 battle droid tokens. They're going to take initiative. We're going to pass. Got ourselves another Red 3. Ooh, open fire looks pretty good here. Super Laser Technician ECL'd into Jesse, huh? All right, let's go ahead and... Do I want to play aggression, or do I want to do something else? I think we just attack into their Phase 3 Dark Trooper. Get rid of that. They put a Bosk out. We're going to go ahead and play a K2. And what's interesting about this is, well, they kind of have to kill K2 with the Bosk, but they're not going to. Mainly because we could just kill Bosk with K2 and Anakin, which is pretty oppressive. Of course, if they decided to do that, we would have gone ahead and open fired, etc. We had a lot of different options here, but, well, we're going to get it done anyways. Let's go ahead and use Anakin's action. Get ourselves a massive attack here and kill off the Bosk. Sweet. Let's go ahead and make deal 3 damage to their base. They got a punishing one. I think I'll just go ahead and replay a K2 here. And let's pass. Double Bo-Katan. Let's resource one of them. We have a lot of events and upgrades in hand here. Okay, let's go ahead and play. Actually, let's attack in with K2. They're going to maul here. Okay. They're going to make punishing one take the damage. We're going to take 3. I'll deal 3 to their base. And now, let's go ahead and flip Anakin. Let's play twice the pride on Anakin. And then let's go ahead and I suppose we'll attack their base for a whopping 10 points of damage, and then we'll just play Bo-Katan. So now, if they do deal with Anakin, which they have to, then we get to attack in with Bo-Katan, and then finish them off with a Cassian. So let's go ahead and play the Cassian. And we'll finish off the game that way. Sweet. Pretty sweet. And you can see Anakin's straight up power there coming down as, well, not quite a 10-7, but a 6-7. And then we put the twice the pride on him and boom, suddenly he's extremely powerful. So absolutely insane amounts of damage coming out from him. This is definitely going to be a mulligan. Double twice the pride in our starting hand. Not exactly super exciting. Of course, a bunch of expensive stuff as well. We got Jesse, Sabine Wren, Bo-Katan. Okay, I like this hand. Let's go ahead and resource. Probably the Sabine and one of the Jessies. And they're going to go ahead and go for the silencer here. Let's pass. K2, twice the pride. Get a resource to red 3. Don't want their 2 resource play to trade with our 3 resource play. Let's go ahead and play Jesse here. They're going to do 2 battle droids. They're going to force choke out Bo-Katan. Okay, let's take initiative. They definitely, I think in most spots you want to force choke the Jesse, but that's okay. Let's start off by just attacking into Dengar here. Again, we're kind of playing a little bit more of a controlling game because we just have so many ways to deal with so many other things. And Anakin's such a powerful leader, he'll win the game on his own. Let's take initiative here. They're going to attack a little bit here and there. They're going to play a phase 3 Dark Trooper. And they're going to pass. Okay, let's resource this Cassian. So now we can play Open Fire plus Anakin's Interceptor. We're going to use the action here just to get in for 2 additional points of damage into their base. K2's Overwhelm looks extremely good here. I will go ahead and play the Interceptor. They're going to Death Mark here. So we're going to Open Fire the Silencer. Just get rid of it. Deal damage. Finish it off. They're going to draw 2. We're going to deal 3 damage to their base. Let's take initiative. They're going to get Bosk down. They're going to hit us for 4. And they have a Toro. Okay. Poe Dameron, Aggression were the draws. Don't think I'm going to go with Poe Dameron here. I think what I want to do is... So Anakin is currently a 7-7. Let's go ahead and deploy Anakin. Ruthless Raider. Deal 2 to Anakin. So now it's 5 power. Oh, they're ECLing it too. Oh, okay. In that case... Do I just want to smack... Do I just want to... Yeah, let's just go ahead and attack in Kill Bosk. Hit their base for 1. Now, if they want to kill Anakin, which I think is a pretty safe play, we can just go ahead and play the Wild Rancor. And then we get red 3, K2. Let's go ahead and resource that red 3. They're going to attack us for 4. I'm going to go ahead and play twice the pride on our Rancor. They got Bounty Hunter's Quarry on it. Okay, that's fine. We'll attack in for 10. Nice little chunk there. Then a deal 1 to us. Let's go ahead and play Cassian. Instantly readied up here. They got a Toro. So now we can go ahead and just attack their base for 3. They got a punishing 1, and we'll take initiative. I didn't take initiative immediately because I'm just assuming that our opponent has something to kill the Wild Rancor with those resources available. But now we'll get to attack with Wild Rancor into their base. Sweet. All right. So we're winning those games. Let's move on to another matchup. I'm curious. Let's go ahead and go up against the Yoda. Well, actually, Yoda's going to be kind of awkward with that flip. Our opponent definitely doesn't know how to play Yoda. Let's just try the Boba Green here. Boba Green. Ooh, I do like this hand. I'm going to go and resource the Interceptor and the Fighters for Freedom. No, I'd rather resource the Jesse in this matchup. Let's play Sabine. They got a Crumb. Let's take initiative. Wild Rancor could be resourced. And what's interesting here is I'm actually going to use Anakin's action to attack the Salacious Crumb and then deal 1 to the base. So we kind of get 1 free damage to the base. Of course, they have another Crumb, so they get to heal it. Let's play the Fighters for Freedom. Okay, they play Bazine. They take our 4 resource play, and we end up drawing another one. So kind of negated that, but that's okay. I think we just want to attack with Fighters for Freedom into Salacious Crumb. Get rid of it. Resupply. They're going to get down a Boba this turn. Let's go ahead and just play out the K2. Hit our opponent for 1. They're going to attack us for 1. We're going to pass. I think our opponent just naturally deploys Boba here. And this is one thing that's really nice about Anakin's ability is it's really good at using these random units to hit your opponent's leaders for a ton of damage. So now we deal 5 to Boba. So now Boba Fett's armor is really, really powerful. Or really, really not as powerful. And look at that. They do have Boba Fett's armor. So what can we do to get rid of it? Well, guess what, guys? K2 just kills it with Anakin's action. So lots of value being had with Anakin's action here. Go ahead and get 3 damage onto their base. They got themselves a hot shot blast. They're going to get in for a couple points of damage. We are just going to go ahead and play out the Poe Dameron. Get 1 damage into our base, into their base. They're going to no get to be dead the Fighters for Freedom, and we're going to take initiative. Got themselves another Wild Rancor. Let's just attack their base for discard, deal 2 damage to their base, smack it for a whopping 8. And then we get to use Anakin's action, deploy the leader. We're going to hit Fighters for Freedom, trade off there, makes sense. Ready up some resources. I'm going to go ahead and play twice the Pride on Anakin. They're going to take the aggression, which makes sense. Again, they're just going to prevent us from having that in our hands, so they can't make a play. We're going to hit them for 10, and then we're going to play Jesse. And now, I mean, what can they do? They can play like Darth Vader, try to get a Sentinel, I suppose. But we have just so many things on the battlefield. Wild Rancor also works really well with Jesse. It cleans up the battle droid tokens, but we're just going to smack their base for a whopping 10. I mean, look how much damage Anakin does. It's crazy. Anakin just ends the game when he comes down every single time. He is really, really powerful in that regard. But let's move on to a different matchup. Let's try Maul. Let's try Maul. Get Maul in the field here. Get ourselves a decent hand. I'm going to resource this Cassian and probably the Wild Rancor. Just give yourself more options in the early game. Let's play the Bo-Katan. They got a Viper Probe droid. Let's take initiative here. Okay. A-Wing can go ahead and go to the resource pile. Here, I will just attack the base. Ignore the Viper Probe droid. They're going to attack our base. Okay, so we're both ignoring each other here. Let's go ahead and get down the Fighters for Freedom. They have a phase 3. Let's take initiative. Okay, open fire. We have a K2. I think what I want to do, even though Fighters for Freedom does have the Saboteur, I'm just going to kill the phase 3 Dark Trooper. They're going to Super Laser Technician. They're going to ECL it. Hit the Bo-Katan. Definitely think a normal opponent would have just killed the Fighters for Freedom if they're going to ECL it in that way. I suppose that's not necessarily true, but it makes a lot of sense. Bo-Katan coming down. We're going to take initiative. And, ooh, that's a Fleet Lieutenant, huh? Interesting. Okay. Let's resource the Mace. Actually, let's just resource the Red 3. I'm going to attack into their Bo-Katan with my Bo-Katan. Have them just trade off here. And look at this. Maul's going to come down, but hey, look at that. Look at that K2 right there. So if they wanted to go Overwhelming Barrage plus Force Throw this turn, we just straight up kill their Maul with our K2. Love this action. Love the action so much. Let's just go ahead and play Saw Gerrera here. They got a Force Throw. They're going to make us discard. Let's discard the Open Fire. Let's take initiative. Bo-Katan Bravado both pretty interesting. Let's go ahead and use the action ability. Just hit their Darth Maul for a whopping 7. They got a Death Star Stormtrooper. Let's go ahead and use Anakin as a leader. Put a lightsaber on him. Okay. I think I will just play out the Fleet Lieutenant. Get the action with Anakin. I'll kill off the Death Star Stormtrooper. It's going to hit their base for 1. And then I'll play the Bravado, ready up Anakin to attack their base for another 5. And now we have lethal on board. Exactly. There's a Poe Dameron. Let's go ahead and resource him. I got Mace Windu in the wings. I got Cassian in the wings. And look at that. Mace Windu, perfect target. Go ahead and kill the Phase 3 Sentinel. Ready up Mace Windu. And now the game is completely over. So yeah, Anakin yet again getting in for tons of damage. Closing out the game. I just love Anakin, guys. Anakin is sweet. Love that. All right, let's try one more. Let's try the Ahsoka deck. This is one of those situations where Jesse probably is not a card that you really want to see. Of course, we end up drawing it. Makes complete sense there. I'm not going to mulligan this one. I do like this hand. I'm going to go resource this Bo-Katan. I'm going to resource this Jesse. R2's coming down. Let's go ahead and play A-Wing. They're going to take initiative. We're going to pass. We got the Fleet Lieutenant here on turn 2. Let's resource this Jesse. Oh, they're going to go ahead and give a blaster to R2, huh? Well, it's Fleet Lieutenant attack in. And this is something that's really important to realize is now our Fleet Lieutenant's going to be able to kill their R2. So they kind of have to deal with it if they really don't want R2 to die. Oh, they're going to just put another blaster on it. All right, well, probably not the thing that I would recommend doing, but that's okay. Let's just go to kill their R2 with this Fleet Lieutenant. They're going to get a Greedo down, sure. Let's play K2. Let's attack into their base for 3. And let's pass. Red 3 drawn, let's resource that. Here comes Ahsoka. Oh, what is that? I can go ahead and one-shot Ahsoka. Let's go ahead and one-shot Ahsoka. Ahsoka's dead. Deal 3 damage to their base. Greedo comes down. Hits us for 3. Let's go ahead and... I think we actually want to play our Cassian from our resource pile. Just use up all of our resources. Spare the target. It's going to return the A-Wing. Sure. Let's go ahead and kill the Greedo. If this trades, I don't care. Again, we're kind of playing a little bit more controlling because we have Anakin that's going to come down and kill everything. Here, Wild Rancor could be resourced. And we'll just start off by hitting the Soldier of the 501st. Getting rid of that. They're going to surprise strike our base for 5. And, oh, what's that? What's that? We're going to be able to get down an 8-powered Anakin? Oh, pretty good. Seems like a good card. What are we going to do? We're going to hit their base for 8. And then we're just going to ready up Anakin again. And then we're going to hit their base for another 8. Oh, seems good. Absolutely love Anakin, guys. Oh my gosh. So, not saying this is the best deck in the world or anything like that. Not even close. But there's a lot of value to be had with Anakin's ability. And we got to talk about some of our final thoughts on this deck. So what do we think about Anakin? Well, I think there's a lot of different ways you could build him. I was mainly looking into Anakin Blue because there's a lot of restore options. And I think that works decently well to value trade. Just kind of go value trading throughout the whole game. Get some things like Yoda out there, right? And suddenly Yoda trades with your Battlefield Marine and restores you the damage that you would have dealt to your base with Anakin. So that's pretty nice. But I actually like having damage on our base, was what I realized as I went along. So you can go with a blue route and still have some really good success there. But I started playing with Anakin Red, and I found it just to be super fun. Super fun. Aggression, reading up things, playing with aggression in general. Wild Rancor coming down. The twice the pride on space units, but also twice the pride on Anakin himself is really nice. And you just beat down your opponent. But you kind of play this weird style where you're beating down your opponent, but you're beating them down just to have like a finishing turn with Anakin. In other situations, you're actually just trading off units, and you just get a little bit of damage in your opponent's base, which is kind of fun. So really, really solid stuff. I do think Anakin Green has a lot of potential as well with like ECL. That one's a little bit risky because you obviously have a 5 less HP on your base. I've also tried Petronaki Arena, the 26 HP base, so that Anakin can have +1 power. It's kind of awkward because Petronaki Arena, it has 4 less damage on your base, so it kind of is basically just like playing normal Anakin. And in the situations where you would have been at 25 damage and you would have or 26 damage, you would have lost the game, would have just given Anakin an additional power anyways. So something to consider there, but lots of different options with Anakin, and I think he's pretty strong. So really excited about this. Thanks for watching, everyone, and I'll see you all for the next one.